Afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. What's up, y'all? You're listening to You're Probably Right podcast. I'm your host, MCM. Good day, good afternoon, and good night, or whatever time it is. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. I do not profess to be a professor of anything except a professing Christian, right? That's about it. It's not a Christian podcast, but it is a podcast by a Christian. So I just want you to know, so you know my worldview, right? What I do have is life experience, lived experience. Yes, I went to school as well. College a couple times, high school, So, lived experience with mistakes, my quiet observations, conversations I've had with people, and conversations I've had with myself up until now. So anyway, let's go. Oh, if you do want to suggest a topic, no problem. Just email me at yprpodcast@gmail.com, and if it makes sense, I'll do it. As far as those people, I've noticed a lot of people emailing me to be on my podcast, to be interviewed, or just to join the conversation. Sounds cool, but I'm doing it solo for now. Unless something really amazingly lucrative comes up, I'm just a simple guy doing a simple podcast. And until it starts to make dollars, it's not going to make any sense. You know what I mean? Okay. So, by now, everyone thinks they know what men want, right? You can now listen to AI speak in Jordan Peterson's voice or many of the other influencers' voices, and all of a sudden it just sounds that much more believable, even if it's some dude just sitting in his mom's basement writing out scripts or getting ChatGPT to do the same, right? Or DeepSeek or whatever it is they're using. If you ask the internet, right, you'll get an answer within about 3 seconds. Men want to lead. Men want dominance. Men want loyalty, beauty, submission, success, peace, a home-cooked meal, a career woman, maybe a stay-at-home wife, a spiritual partner, or someone who just lets him be. So many voices, so many rules, so many boxes, a lot of boxes, trust me. But most of all, sorry guys, but what the hell? Sorry guys. But most of it is noise. Trying to read this script, man. You want to know what the average man wants, right? The average dude, the average guy. Not the guy with a podcast and a persona. Not the one chasing followers or feeding you alpha male stoic energy. You want to be a stoic? You want to be like, what is his name? Aurelius? I mean, the guy who works, who lives modestly, who not out there really just playing mind games, right? What does he want? Just the average Joe. Well, he wants peace. Peace from criticism. Peace from performance. Peace from constantly being misunderstood and having to over-explain himself all the time just to back himself into a far corner, farther than he was in the first place. He wants to walk into his house and not feel like he's walking into court. Or worse, soon as he passes the welcome mat, he's walking on eggshells. He wants to say, "I'm tired," without being met with, "Of what?" Or "Of course you are," or "Again?" He wants silence without suspicion, respect without negotiation. He wants a relationship that doesn't feel like it comes with a scorecard or judgment that's not going to end up with him sleeping on the couch or in his kid's bed. Where he doesn't have to outperform yesterday just to be seen. What have you done for me lately? Most men don't need help being ambitious. I know that some do, and I know that some play video games. Sometimes it's not just a bad thing. But of course, too much of anything can be a bad thing, right? They need help sometimes. Sometimes they need to be appreciated. That's nice. And they'll never say that directly, of course, because most men don't trust that it would land properly. They've seen how being vulnerable gets twisted into weakness. They've seen how opening up turns into ammunition later for an argument, and it'll be an ongoing argument. And if it's really good, it'll be brought up in almost every argument until, of course, the relationship's over. So they stay quiet. They shut the door, or they just go numb and do what they're told and show up when they need to. But numb doesn't mean fine. It means fading. And if you're a woman listening, this episode isn't here to blame you. It's here to offer something honest, something real, something you might never have heard from a man without the fear of being judged or dismissed. And if you're a man listening, I'm not trying to speak for every one of us, because I know that some guys like to do the opposite of everything that I say here. Some guys, maybe they're here and they're the guy that just wants their wife to put up or shut up in the bedroom, in the kitchen, around the house. Or maybe you're the guy that wants her to go out and work just as hard as you do and bring home the bacon fried up in the pan. Or maybe not bacon. I'm just saying that, I've looked through and thought through a lot, and I'm here presenting it to you, and you can do whatever you want with it. I'm just saying the things you've probably thought about saying, but never really had space to say out loud. This episode is for the guys who are tired of being misunderstood. The guys who have been told to be strong, but never really asked how they're doing. The guys who show up, stay loyal, handle their business, and still feel like it's never enough. So yeah, what do men really want? We're going in and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to do it without yelling, without blaming, without pretending that the answers fit for everyone. All right? I'm MCM, and this is You're Probably Right, and this is episode 222. All right, so I just wanted to say all that. I'm probably going to put this as a main episode, and most people don't do that. It's kind of, what do I mean by main episode? What I'm saying is, when most of the providers will say, because there's 222 episodes of this podcast now, it's kind of like, where should somebody start? Should they start at the beginning? When I was talking about planes not being allowed to leave Jamaica for Canada, United States, and Europe and stuff like that? Probably not, because it was an interesting time. That was COVID time. But this one might be it. And I'm saying that before actually doing it, which is a broad statement. It's kind of like when a comedian goes and does a tour, and then they, after whichever whichever presentation of their routine worked the best in whatever city that was, then they put that as their main special, and they put it on Netflix or whatever, right? But I'm actually saying this before, so that's why I'm giving all this random information that I don't normally give at the beginning of my my podcast. Okay, so now that I've blathered on for almost 10 minutes, hopefully you're still here, and obviously you wouldn't be hearing me if you weren't here. So yeah, welcome to all my first time listeners, my regular listeners, my clicked out listeners, people who are probably listening to me for the last time, please pass it on to your friends if this isn't for you, or pass it on to your enemies if you can't stand it and you don't like them. Either way, please pass it on. All right, so segment 1. What men want, like, value. Well, stability over excitement for sure. I know there's the guys that want to go to the ballpark, want to go to African Lion Safari, want to go to Canada's Wonderland, want to go to Six Flags, want to go to Disney, want to be here, want to be there, want to jet set, want to just grab money, go to the airport and see where you can, what plane you can get off and go. Sure, you're jet set or whatever it is. And then most guys just want to wake up in the morning, kiss their wife, put on their clothes, maybe have some breakfast, maybe not, jump in their nice car, hopefully, get themselves to work, or jump on the subway or whatever, or just walk, or maybe use an e-bike. I don't know. Most men value routine, habits, environments that they can count on, peaceful. Repetition isn't boring, it's safe. And sadly, that's looked down in the society. Most people think that just because you're doing the same thing every day, it's boring, and it's just not something that a lot of women want to deal with. They want something that's unpredictable, something that goes against the grain at times and keeps life interesting, and wants addition to their regular life. And most guys aren't like that. Most guys like peace. Most guys like rhythm. Most guys like predictability. They don't want to wonder and be stressing out as to what's going to happen. Is somebody going to break through my door tonight when I'm sleeping at 3:00 in the morning? And not that any woman really wants that either. But the point is guys want to know what to expect. They want to know what needs to be done. They want to know how they're going to get it done, the way they're going to get it done, how long it's going to take them to get it done. And then after, when they've done what they need to do, what else are they going to do? Or maybe they just want to stop doing it all. Most guys want practical support. Men appreciate help that doesn't come with correction or ego. Support in action, not just words, help, presence, and usefulness. Most men want freedom to think. Silence doesn't mean withdrawal. It means processing. Men need space to reflect without being labeled as distance, silence, and they want to be able to trust the space. They just want to be able to be. Just because we're not doing, and I know that it seems it bothers a lot of women. Like, so let's just say you're in the dating world, or you're married, and maybe you're just talking to someone on the phone, or you're talking to your wife on the phone, or you're just texting, because that's the thing. Nobody wants to actually talk on the phone anymore. You're messaging or WhatsApping or whatever they're doing. And the question, what are you doing? What are you up to? What's going on? How's your day? And most guys are like, well, I'm over here sitting on the couch. I'm not working right now because I'm off for the day, or maybe I have a day off and it's Saturday, and I'm literally sitting on the couch with one sock off and sitting on my shoulder, one sock on, one leg up, and I got the remote in my hand, and I'm just looking at some soccer. But most guys are not going to say that, because sometimes we just want to chill, but we know that we're being judged when we're just trying to chill sometimes, or most times. I don't know if women think that guys are superheroes all the time, but sometimes I'm sure at some point Superman and Spider-Man wanted to chill out and do nothing. Sometimes we just want to relax and sit back. Sometimes we just want to people watch, like you. Small signs of respect. We love that. A respectful tone, a genuine thank you, or being asked instead of told. These small gestures go a long way with most guys. Most guys. It's funny. With most guys, it goes a long way. Tone, gratitude from your wife or your significant other or your kids. Cool. Many takeaways. Listen, men don't want control. They want to be trusted to lead in their own lane of who they are. And you might say, what? Men don't want control? No, we don't need control of everything. We just want things to be slightly predictable in most cases. We want to know that if we go in and we clean something out in an engine, that engine's going to work properly. If this is done and that is done and this is done and it's systematically checked through, then at the end of it, we expect it to work. That's just the average guy. Now, what men don't want, but won't always say. Excessive emotional pressure. Being expected to open up on demand can feel unsafe. Emotional timing matters, especially early on in a relationship. Timing, vulnerability, safety. Most guys have been taught in this society that we shouldn't just blather out our personal emotional feelings right away because you probably can't trust it in most cases. And I realize that people are getting better at this, probably because of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. There's these shorts that will tell you how to fix your life in under 30 seconds. But how many of you sit around and listen or watch these, get caught up in the loop of watching these things and take away very, very little, and then the next day or next week you're doing it all again, or you're kicking yourself saying, why did I just waste 45 minutes on videos that were 30 seconds a pop or less, and I still haven't really learned that much, and I'm going to do it all over again tomorrow possibly. Men don't want constant fixing or critique. Even helpful feedback can come across like micromanagement. It wears men down over time. Tone, and tone. And you're judging every little thing and critiquing every little thing. Dave's doesn't work like that. Why is ours like this? I think the sensor's not right on the garage door. Can you fix it? Can you fix it again? I think it's too sensitive. No, you just need to chill out sometimes. Or depending on how you're saying it, makes a big difference to guys. Men don't want comparison to other men. Dave is Dave, Mike is Mike, Chris is Chris, John is John. Men can feel devalued when you hold them up against someone else, especially if it's subtle or passive aggressive. Yeah, we deal with insecurity. We have competition, usually on the court or on the field, and then there's shame. It's like, if I'm only 6 foot, okay, if I'm only 5'7", and you're saying that you're comparing me to some guy who's 6'2", or whatever, it's just like, just let that person be. If it's somebody in your past, just let them be. I'm here now. And for you to keep dragging up what somebody else did, you think about that and think about how you would receive that. Social performance pressure. Not every man wants to be loud. Not every man wants to wear a Gucci belt. Not every guy wants to be flashy or impressive. Many just want to be considered solid, and they want to stay in the cut and chill. They want to have their own persona. They want to do their own type of effort in the situation. And I know a lot of people think that guys just, it's just that they don't want to do anything. No, sometimes we just want to be. We go to work, we'll do our job. Many will come home and put the paycheck, if there was actually a paycheck. But most guys would e-transfer or send the money for the bills if you happen to be the person taking care of the bills. At the same time, when he's off, he wants to be able to spend a little money, maybe, or maybe he wants to save it. Maybe he's not trying to blow every last dime. Most men feel when, they're being measured, and many won't say anything. Most guys can tell when you're measuring them up against something else in your past. Many of us are intuitive more than you'd think, and we know. We just want to be. We don't want to be compared to the pretty boy over there who has his eyebrows clipped and and maybe he's wearing makeup. Most guys just want to be them. I mean, maybe I'm that guy, who, does all that stuff. But at the same time, we allow other guys to be themselves. So hopefully the people around us can allow us to be us. Why can't we be the measuring stick of how things should be done? Who's we? Everybody. This guy does these things this way, and that guy does things his way. Okay. I'm not sure if that all landed properly because I'm really using this script and I'm trying to explain as I go along. Some of my podcasts, I think I only, sometimes I'll have words, just little words, buzzwords, whatever you want to call them, leading words so that I can explain a concept. But here there's more to it. Hopefully it's more informative than even an AI video. Whereas I'm giving you the information that I have down here, but at the same time, I'm trying to ad-lib it. And sometimes it doesn't work because sometimes I need to just relax. And that's the one thing I can honestly tell you. If you ever think of doing a podcast, timing is everything in a podcast. Of course, sound is important. But if you're rushing it and you're rushing your information, you might have a problem because stuff's going to come off rushed. It's just, that's the way it is. Especially if it's audio only, you could probably notice a lot of other things happening. I mean, there's not a cat walking behind me, or maybe there is, but you can also hear my voice when I'm just trying to put something out here and I'm not really cognitively resting in it a bit. So I try, if I'm doing that a lot this time, I apologize. That's how I feel. So with the rest of this this episode, I'm going to try to chill out a little bit. So my next segments are going to be everyday misconceptions about men. Then it's going to be what a good life looks like for most men. And then I'm going to do too many minds when outside opinions ruin relationships. Ooh, that sounds good. All right. So anyhow, I'm going to try to slow down a little bit. I as I said, I apologize if I'm kind of sounding mushmouth here a little bit. I think because I said I'm going to use this as a main episode, I think I kind of spooked myself. That's wild. That's kind of funny, actually. Okay. So everyday misconceptions about men. I'm going to try to dig deep here and chill out. Now, you might say, somebody would say, like, why wouldn't you just start the episode over again? Because maybe you're seeing it's that bad. But put it this way. If you're still listening, then obviously there's something that I'm doing that you like. And if you don't, then you're probably gone and it doesn't really matter at this point. Okay. Misconceptions. Men don't feel fair. The first thing that comes to mind, away from the script here, guys, is when you're sitting and you're watching a movie with your wife or your girlfriend, and maybe there's a tall dude behind you and his knee is on your girl's chair, and he's sitting there just shaking his leg, and your girl like could swear he's doing it on purpose, and she wants you to to handle it. And this is probably one of the biggest fears most guys have, is not necessarily that that situation, but it's a girl getting him beaten up, making him handle more than he can. But anyhow, that's when I think of that, men don't feel fair. We do feel fair. We don't know. It could even be a guy our size. You never know. It could be a grown man and a 17-year-old kid, and there's still some fear. You could be the grown ass man, and there could be some fear, because the worst thing that could happen to a grown man is to get knocked out by a 17-year-old. So most guys, like they say, lions, right? A lion is quiet, but you know he's powerful. And most lions don't want to fight another lion, especially of his size, because he knows he's not coming out of that fight without damage. It's like me growing up. I rarely got into fights as a kid, growing up, teenager, whatever. And partly I think it was because I was an average size guy, and any guy that thought he was going to fight with me, whether he was my age or he was older, he knew that if he was going to swell my lip or give me a bleeding lip, chances are he was going to get one too. I was physical. I was pretty much an athlete. So that's a deterrent by itself, you know? But don't believe that guys don't have fear. Guys do fear. Guys don't want to get hurt. Guys sometimes have a higher pain threshold, but we still feel fear too. So that is an everyday misconception. And see, that's off the list, guys. And that's usually how my podcasts go, where I kind of talk like that. But I try to give the straight up information. I'm really sorry for coughing. I don't know what I'm going to do. Just drinking something hot. I thought that would have been better, but apparently it's not. Okay. So men fear rejection, not only bodily harm. And that's why a lot of guys won't approach women in many cases, because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be turned down. They don't want to be like, yeah, get out of here. Oh, you're ugly. Get out of here. You're too short. Or you're too fat. Or you're too skinny. Or what are all those veins on your arm? Like, we just don't know. We like to know what we're coming out with when we're going in. You know what I mean? Simple. Guys, fear. Well, guys don't. People say men don't fear being misunderstood. We do. We are concerned big time when we say something. We're hoping that it's going to land well, but you know, in many relationships and situations, we know that a lot of times stuff that we say, it doesn't. A lot of people think men don't have fear of losing respect, and we don't care. We're just men, and that's what I do. No, we care too. The problem is that most of us just don't say it. So we are we are concerned about failure. We are concerned about rejection. We are concerned about judgment, just like women, but in a different way, of course. Another misconception is men don't need comfort. That's one of our favorite things. You know what I mean? And it's sad that, you know, people will just think that we don't need comfort. We can just go, oh, we don't need to sleep in the whatever $1,000 bed that we purchased. We can go sleep on the floor and we're fine. That's not true for most of us, especially the ones who work hard. Last thing you want to wake up with is a backache and go do some hard work, or just walk around and deal with people all day in cricked up backs. No, we like comfort. We like comfortable shoes. We like comfortable clothes. I know some of us overdo it and have 50 pairs of shoes, totally unnecessary, but there's some of us that's their thing. They don't do the extravagant this, that, and the other, and they just want comforting shoes. They want a comfortable chair. They want a comfortable bed. They want a comfortable relationship. Many men crave touch. Not always the touch that you think. Men need affirmation, peace. The only thing is that men usually stop expecting it after a while when it's not being given without something on the back end. Warmth. We love warmth. Safety. Softness. These are things that we like. We love even. Men want to be chased. Well, I don't know. Most just want mutual interest. Most guys don't want games. Initiating doesn't mean chasing. It's just initiative, effort, honesty. We're not always trying to hunt. Men are emotionally unavailable. That's not true. Some men were never taught how to express their emotions in the proper societal way, or they were punished for doing so. Protection, history, mistrust. You know, most of us, if we are comfortable, we will get into our emotions. If we know that we're in a safe space, we're not just going to give it to you. And you might say, you're in a safe space, you can trust me. But I told you earlier, a lot of us are just worried that whatever we say is going to be used in an argument. It's going to be used in a divorce. It's going to be used in a conversation with your friends when we're not around. And somehow it's going to leak back to us. Sometimes we want to talk about what happened to us as kids, and we don't know if you're going to go find the culprit and talk to them for us. You know? Anyhow, men might not use a lot of words, but they remember everything that made them feel small. And even if we are small, most guys don't want to feel that way. We want to feel like we take up a large part of your heart and that we are enough just by being who we are. Okay. What a good life looks like to a man. For us, routine makes a lot of sense. A predictable day is grounding. We know that we're going to wake up, we're going to have a little breakfast, we're going to brush your teeth, we're going to have breakfast, wash your face, all that stuff, and we're going to pull the lawnmower out, we're going to cut the grass, right? Or we know that we got to wake up and shovel the snow before we leave. Or we got to make a sandwich and go to work and come home and eat lunch and eat dinner and chill out with the wife on the couch or the girlfriend on the couch and chill out after work, a good hard day's work. We want to know that we have purpose, but at the same time, we don't want all the pressure. We like structure. We like things to go in a rhythmic way. We want purpose. But we don't always want to be purposely doing something. Sometimes we just want to be. When we're not forced to because of work or because we don't have to because of work, we just want to do what we want to do sometimes. Just like women. There's a lot of women who like to be here, there, and everywhere and have their hand in everything, and then they crash and they got nothing left for at home. Well, no. For guys, we want to go know that we're doing what we're doing and for how long we're going to be doing it. And then we want to know at what point can we stop doing stuff that we have to do and just do what we want to do. And that could be anything. That could be nothing. Do you understand? Good life feels like home that feels like peace. Coming home shouldn't feel like stepping into conflict, a battlefield. Men crave emotional quiet, comfort, relaxation, quiet. Home is a refuge for us. So we don't want to come home and find that the furniture is moved every day. And I'm just throwing in my 2 cents there. I've had that before, where I was in a relationship where every time I came home, the furniture was moved. I would say honestly, at least 3 times a week, furniture was moved around. So I could like forget about trying to move around in the dark at home. I would never make it. I'd end up with a broken leg because the couch is moved somewhere, or and forget about trying to leave in a hurry because I probably might not be able to find my keys in the morning. And just being honest. What a good life looks like to most men. Again, understanding that silence doesn't mean something's wrong. Sometimes it's just restoration. We just want to be still. We want patience. We want to have faith that we know what we're doing and, where we're going, where we're going to be, where you're going to be. We want to be able to examine and look at things without being judged while we're examining and looking at things. Someone to celebrate wins with us. And it might be a Baltimore Ravens game, or it might be a Toronto Maple Leafs game, or it might just be a nice game of cards against the friends, the boys, or against you. We just want to be celebrated when things go right, when we get that machine working, when we put up that deck properly, when we cut that grass and it's striped just so. That's a win for us. It's corny and as small as it might be to anybody else's world, these little things like the lights work that I actually put together or wired, these are wins. And when those closest to us, usually our significant other or maybe our kids, when we do succeed, I know that, a lot of us will just be like, it seems like it works. That was a good job. Really inside, a lot of the times we're like, yeah, I did it. You know what I mean? But we want to act, most of us like to act like we've done it before because, that sometimes that little macho, and maybe that's something that guys need to look at, of course, in their individual lives. But a lot of the time we won't have that scream, that shout. But if you do, we wouldn't mind, most of us. We want to be praised, Men want cheerleaders. For real. And you can take that however you want. Someone who sees their effort and celebrates the small victories. We love joy. We love recognition. We love loyalty. Don't have us cutting the grass and then our next door neighbor, Jonathan, over there is cutting grass, and then you come over and say, oh, you cut the grass? Why didn't you do it like Jonathan? Didn't you see the way Jonathan went perfectly around the edges with the weed whacker? No, just be on our side. Stay loyal. I know you're trying to help, but certainly, and even if you're going to do that, please don't do it while Jonathan's there. Your home team, remember. Most men want partnership. Not a manager, not a therapist, not a test, just a partnership. And we don't mind you managing some things, but don't do it in a way where guys just feel like they're nothing. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. Okay. And here's something that I added on in this, I don't know how it's going to go over. Okay. When outside opinions ruin the relationship, this is probably what most people are waiting for. The helpful guy friend who is just waiting for a crack, literally. The man giving advice to our women may not want her to actually fix things. He might want her to move on with him. So we realize that a lot of guys like to give information, and they act like they're going to be friends, and they act like they have the best interest, your best interest as women, out for you, and they like to listen to what you have to say, but know you're in a relationship at the same time. And guys who like want to chime in on every little thing that's happening inside somebody else's relationship, and they like to talk to a guy's wife. Maybe it's somebody that they work with, but when they're constantly coming off in a negative way as to, girl says, my husband did this, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy's over there saying, oh, why did he do it that way? He should have done it that way. You know what? You can tell him to give me a call, or maybe not. You know what I mean? Those helpful guy friends, in most cases, are really annoying for most guys. The guys who are actually trying to weasel their way in between you and your man. The emotional wingman who co-signs your complaints, women. He acts like he's there as a support system, but really he's just echoing, or he's an echo chamber, helping you feel right even when you're wrong. Validating stuff that shouldn't be validating. Manipulating things that he shouldn't be manipulating. And then there's, the whole situation where he's triangulating and he's bringing himself in the middle of something that he has no business in. Now, I'm not saying you can't give your opinion as a guy, or you shouldn't ask for, but really, I think if you want to do something for your husband or your man, I think the best thing is to either know him or ask him. We don't mind being asked. Guys don't mind if you say, do you like this? Do you like that? No problem. We'll give you the answer. As long as you're willing to take the answer, we got. The cultural cyborg effect. When a woman blends too many male opinions, she becomes hard to connect with for any one guy, because she's not forming her own identity in the relationship. She's copying fragments of other people. And we've seen that, where it's like, well, you have to take this, don't take that, don't drink out of this type of glass, don't use plastic, don't this, don't do. And people who are like cultural sponges, and everything that they've been told over their life, they're instituting it into their relationship with a new man. Get your information from your dad. Once you get into your relationship with your man, that's your guy now. Before, your dad was your guy, or maybe the guy who you had before your guy was your guy. But understand that certain things are not going to jive well with the new man. So bringing in your past experience of some other dude, not cool. Just telling you. And it's not a jealousy thing. It's just, I'm a different guy. So allow me to be that different guy. And if you don't allow me, the reality is I'm a different guy. When a woman trusts other men more than her man, I don't know of any one more annoying thing to a guy. If she's always going to other men to clarify stuff, either in her mind of what guys have said or actually physically to another man, answers, advice, it's like, why is she even with me? If she's gonna consider what this guy told her, or what that guy said to her, or her boss said to her, or her coworker said, like, no, man, come to us. We want to know. We'll tell you what we think. Even me and you, we can put our heads together, but we don't need those guys' heads in our relationship. Literally. If too many people are in your relationship, then it's not a relationship. It's a panel discussion. And your voice as the man should never have to compete in your own home and in your own relationship. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have in the back of your mind what other people said or what other people did or what other people think to an extent, but at the same time, it shouldn't come to the forefront of what you and your guy are going to do or what your guy thinks he should do. Allow him. Now, of course, if you've learned that after having the glue stick inside of the hot glue gun for a certain amount of time means that it's going to burn his hand off when he has it dripping or whatever, like stuff that you can help the situation. But by saying, you know, Steven did it this way before he starts or while he's doing it and things are getting screwed up, that's never going to help. And it's going to probably make him more want to just do it his way anyways. Not every man is chasing status. Not every man wants to be alpha. Some just want to live a solid, quiet, honest life. One where they can fix things without being told they're broken. One where they can say, I'm tired without being seen as weak. One where love feels peaceful and not performative. And if you're a woman listening and you've ever wondered why the nice guy doesn't open up or why he doesn't seem maybe as interesting as the bad boy, maybe he just never had someone who asked without trying to change him. So here's what I know. We don't all want the same things as guys, but every man I know wants to be seen, wants to be heard, and certainly wants to be respected in his way. If you're still guessing what men want, maybe this was your answer. I don't know. I'm MCM, and this is You're Probably Right Now. That's it for today, y'all. I know that I rambled on a lot, and I don't know how much you really took in. I don't know. I didn't like this episode, guys. But anyways, here we are at the end. Hopefully there is something that you learned in this episode. And if not, check out one of my other 221 episodes. There's probably something there for you. Anyhow, I am the man MCM, and this is You're Probably Right. Take care until next time. Oh, and if you do have a comment, if you do have a suggestion, just hit me up at yprpodcast at Google, at Gmail. You don't do it at Google, you won't find me. yprpodcast at gmail.com. Take care. Hey, come check out You Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, well, very few topics off the table, hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere.